Welcome to Inside the Firm, a podcast dedicated to small business owners and hosted by entrepreneurs, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko. Each week, they take you on their journey of how to start, run, and grow a business by bringing you inside their architecture and real estate development firm. Get a behind-the-scenes tour of how these business leaders manage their clients and foster company culture while creating new and innovative projects. And now your hosts, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko.
Lance, it is great to be back inside the firm with you. It has been what I feel like a very, very long time.
I'd say about a month.
Yep. And we're both outside the firm and inside the firm.
But mostly outside the firm.
Yep. But when we're inside the firm, what resources help us out?
You know, I go to arcat.com. That's where I go.
Well, that's where I tell the guys to go, because you don't go to arcat.com because you don't do any work in the firm.
Yeah.
So,
And do you know what many professionals in architecture dread, Al? That Arcat can help you out with?
tell me.
Editing down a manufacturer's specification.
Absolutely.
Imagine that you're staring down a 54-page specification. You only want one product and all of its attributes. There's a better way, and it's not throwing the entire specification into your project documents. It's ArcCat Spec Wizard. Spec Wizard, Al, is a patented, one-of-a-kind, automated spec writing tool that allows you to specify a product in minutes, not hours. Just select the products and options you want to specify and generate a 3-part CSI spec in your choice of formats. Best of all, it's F-R-E-E. What does that spell?
Free.
And requires no registration. Go to arcat.com and start building better content today. You need to do that, Al.
And also, if you're ever at a conference or an event and they're there, we've met the guys, they're cool, go hang out with them, high five them, immediately open up with a high five.
Exactly.
And they'll probably
say, hey,
slap
Bill.
you back. Yep.
High five. I demand a high five. Make that happen. Make that happen for sure.
And then get one.
And you know what I read this on, Al? This is exciting.
What?
I am reading that read off of my brand new Precision 7540 Dell laptop computer. It is phenomenal. It is awesome. It starts up in less. I'm not joking. It's almost instant how it starts up.
Time out. I'll give
And
a
you know why I'm
comparison.
telling you about that? Because Dell is our newest sponsor. Dell.com, everybody.
Well, that's awesome. Well, then let's give them some comparisons, okay?
All right.
My old computer, that is probably 4 years old, if I turn it all the way off and then press the power key, I'm waiting a half hour to 45 minutes. What is your time?
Almost zero, I'm telling you. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It's amazing. Yes.
So which one? You have the Precision.
I
7540.
recommend this for every architect, 100%. I'm going to read some specs off for everybody too. So it is. I have the Precision 7540, and what we have Precisions before. What are you sitting with right now? You got an older
7510, but from half a decade ago,
almost 4 years ago. And they're great. They're great workstations. I like them. One of the things I really like is that it actually has a calculator button, because I'm always doing calculations with numbers and putting together proposals and all that other good stuff, all the contracting stuff. The processor in it is awesome. It's got an Intel Core i9-9980HK, 2.4 gigahertz, 16 gigabytes of RAM. 64-bit operating, and then it's stacked with a graphics card. I'd have to look up the graphics card. Maybe I'll do that next time. But it is awesome. It is awesome.
And we will tell you next time, so keep listening in, because for some of these heavy renderings, like Enscape and Revit, graphics card is where it's going to count. So like if you get a new computer and you think, oh, it's going to be great, I got a new computer, but you get a crappy graphics card, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So don't do that. So if you are going to buy, go to Dell.com/inside the firm, because you get a special discounts that for being an inside the firm listener. So whatever regular Dell you would have got, if you go to Dell.com/inside the firm, you'll get even more discounts. It's self-explanatory. Go there. You can also call them at 1-800-757-8442. Just let them know that you are inside the firm members, and your ID number is. This is all on our webpage, right? So if you go to Inside the Firm Podcast, we're brought to you by ArcCat, who we love, and Dell, and there's a member ID there, and it's 530015 888-770-4759. But it's also on our website, Inside the Firm. There's a link there. So if you're just going to buy anyways, you might as well get the special
Don't
discount.
get a Mac. Get a Dell.
Oh, don't get a Mac. No, I'm not hating. But you have to partition your drive. I'm more hating on Revit or the Macs who decided to make it not work on there. So,
Craziness.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You know what, Al? I got to admit it. Jocko was right.
Holy cow. Jocko was right about what?
Jocko was right about getting up at 4:30. Jocko was right about you get your butt up early.
Yep.
And you crush it.
Yep.
It's the quiet hour. We've said this before, but I have been waking up. Today I woke up at 4. Actually, 3:58. I woke up at 3:58, and I almost tweeted right at Jocko again.
Yep.
And told him, you need to catch up, Jocko.
He needs to catch up. Yep.
You know what's hilarious? Here's what's so crazy. I feel like there's also a term for this. So even though I woke up at 4 today and was working all the way up until I like doing office stuff, all the way up until I started doing blue collar stuff on the job site, I almost still didn't have enough time.
Oh, yeah.
Like you always fill that window.
Yep. And I think you need to cut distractions and really be focused. And I'll give you another. Jocko was right. We'll give him credit for 2 things. Wow. The extreme ownership. It's helped in our communication. So we'll probably go over that this project is stressful, right?
Yep.
But when Lance comes at me with an issue, like he now starts with like, okay, maybe I didn't understand this, or I'll say maybe I didn't communicate clearly that what I meant when I said this, and it just helps. It helps the tension ease so that the other person doesn't get defensive. But then also you still know, like, let's say Lance said I didn't communicate clearly this, but I could still say like, well, I maybe should have interpreted, So it just allows for an easier flow of communication if you take ownership of it, but still clearly say what you're trying to say. Does that make sense? Would you second that? It does make sense.
No, communication is key. What the heck did I even down to personal stuff? The other my wife is awesome. And she's a working wife, so she's not stay at home, but she does do a lot of the housework type of stuff. And so I told her the other night, hey, I won't be home till like 7:30. Well, we eat supper at about 6:30 every night. And what I should have told her is, I won't be home until 7:30. Don't worry about leaving a plate out for me. And then she was not happy after I didn't tell her that, and she cooked. So communication is key.
Communication is key. Yep.
Clear communication is 100% key.
Cool.
So you've been out. You're now moved into Alex's superintendent Al and Lance's contractor Lance. So how do you feel about where we're at with the development and how we're trying to finish this thing?
Yeah, I call myself in my head Super Al, just because I really like how that sounds. But what was it, 3 weeks ago? I've been out probably almost every day.
About a month, because that's how long it's been since we had an actual podcast inside the firm.
And I'll tell you, from the first week to the second week and then to the third week, like the more you get deep into it, like perspectives have changed. But the first week I was out there, you had a huge list of like, this is where the project's at, here's what we're doing. And I was literally just going back and forth, like kind of directing, helping, answering questions, being like first floor guy, remember? And then doing a little bit of work. And honestly, I go, oh, I actually love this. And how I could relate it to was like, it was almost like a gambling high. Because remember the plumbing issue with the sewer, right?
Yep.
And it was...
Have we told it? Have we talked about that yet? That's a good one to talk about.
Yeah.
Public versus private. We'll go back into that. Keep going.
But anyways, it was, hey, are we going to lose $15,000 to $20,000? Or are we going to lose $0?
Literally.
And to me, it's the bad part, like I'm putting a positive spin on it. It's like, oh, can we not lose money? And it'll be like one day we'll lose $5,000, another day something will come in and be like, oh, we already paid for that. That's handled. We'll gain $2,000. So it's like gambling with your own money, but the majority of it is you're not winning. You're just trying to lose the less amount of money, right? And then the workload I think I had tasks, and then I told you it's like you can't really do tasks and also talk to everyone on the site.
Not even close. Yeah, you can't at all.
And you think you can,
maybe you'll pick up a piece of garbage. Maybe you'll pick up one piece of garbage as you're going to talk to another person, but that is it.
And I think that around the outside, so what happens is like there's 5 minutes breaks where like, okay, there's nothing to do for 5 minutes. And you could assign yourself like a task to go into one of the units and trim for whatever reason.
Yep.
But you'll be pulled away. So like, I think that supplemental task, like, oh, you should maybe just be picking up when you have those 5 minutes on the first floor and outside. Just pick up and move stuff and organize stuff. Like that's what your break is going to be, because don't think that you can go and tape, tack on gutters, right? But then me and you came to a realization was because then I was helping you polish and grind floors.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll put in the effort. I'll grind a floor. I'll do it. And then I was like, I don't like it though. I don't like it. I'd rather be out there trying to solve a problem, like the window issue. I'd rather like take my time, look at a window, realize, okay, I don't know how this window works. How does it work? What's going on here? Maybe ask some people, walk around, ask 4 people. Oh, shit, there's a solution. The tags didn't come off. Oh, now go to every window. Take off all the tags for the drainage. Perfect. That's like an Al task, right?
Yep.
Sitting there grinding floors, I feel like someone else.
Lance polishes floors. So this segment is Alex solves problems, Lance polishes floors. It could also be the Alex solves problems never changes. Alex solves problems. Yesterday, Lance installs railings.
Yes.
Today, Alex solves problems. Lance starts prepping the tiny house. We also are building a tiny house at the same time. Yeah, I know we're doing way too many things at once, but we gotta pay bills.
Yeah, Lance builds tiny house.
Yep, does all those things because that's my happy spot is when I know we're marching forward with actual construction. Like I need to see stuff getting done in order for me to calm my nerves. Alex needs to solve problems in order to calm his nerves and be happy as well.
Or Alex wastes his time moving the tiny house trailer around over the trench and lining it up with his truck and moving the trailer outside so his truck can move. Lance puts in railings.
Yeah. Yep.
So that the painters can then paint the outside, the front.
And finish it.
Yep.
Exactly. So that's where our development update is, I think, is that we are... I think we realized that another conclusion that we had is this is technically it's a $2 million build. That doesn't include interest and all the other fees we got to pay on top of that. It's 2 buildings. One is a 6-plex, one is a triplex. And I don't think there was any other way we could have done this project besides only one person could be in the field at the beginning, kind of running the show, and because there was still this transition period where we needed some of our employees to get to the point of getting comfortable managing projects on their own, going to the meetings on their own, and handing off and letting all the clients know. I think if I was to ever do this again and to give anybody advice if they were doing this is, A, I don't know how you do it without a business partner. So then if you do have a business partner, B, would be if there's 2 buildings like that, I think it takes 2 people minimum to do it.
And we know, okay, so Lance does X, but let's broaden it and say what really happens too. So you need a contractor. That's Lance's name, Contractor Al, and then Super Al. I mean, Contractor Lance, Cayko, Contractor Cayko, Super Al. So you need those 2 people because you're still ordering materials.
Yes, my whole morning was ordering more materials.
Yep, setting up inspections. And if it was a different partner relationship, you could change around the roles. It doesn't really matter, right? But there's a delineation. Like you need 2 people to like maybe be working. I don't know how you're going to break it up, but a project this big, you need 2 people. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. And I think the super or the GC, you could reverse the roles like Alex was saying. That person needs to be on the ground talking to all of these contractors and mitigating between them, because the overlaps and the whining that I'm finding that happens is quite astounding, where we think it's okay if the tile guy is in there doing his job after the painter we thought was done. he wasn't quite done, and then you're having to tell people to move their tools around because other people. I mean, just all of these kind of logistical things to keep the project moving, to keep people happy, to calm everybody's nerves, and keep the thing moving forward. There's a guy that just has to go around and talk to people all day. There's so many moving parts, separate from the other moving parts, like making sure, okay, we need 18 toilets. All right, double check your math.
It's almost like off-site guy, on-site guy.
Yep.
Like that's how we did it. You don't have to do it that way, but like Lance talks to all the people off-site to get the things on-site.
Correct.
Al talks to all the people on-site.
Yep. Exactly. So we're almost there. We have our first closing scheduled for November 15th through December 2nd. And we're going to do our best to hopefully maybe try to beat a couple of those deadlines. And then one other thing we're gonna try to do is get the guys out on the site more, even maybe on the weekends a little bit, to see if we can just keep moving this thing ahead. We're facing crappy weather now.
Yep.
So we just turned the corner. It just turned cold, which instantly affected the painting inside because we don't quite have the heat on it yet. Electricity should be any day.
Right. I'm trying to get a hold of them, but yeah.
Any day. The electricity is finally going to be, all the buildings should be powered on. That's huge. We can take the temporary power off the site. I'm sick of looking at it. Plumbing is really close to being turned on in the buildings. We have all the lines in. We just have to.
Gas is there today.
Yep. The gas riser is getting put in, so we should have heat next week. So many things coming together. Crazy amount of work. Last night, the painter locked me out of the unit that our keys were in. So then I had to call a locksmith. I didn't get home till 8 p.m. So it was a 16-hour day.
You were very happy about that when we were on the phone.
God, it was brutal. It was
so
so brutal.
Happy Lance.
So brutal. I feel hungover today, even though I didn't even drink at all. That's how gross of a night it was.
Yep.
So that's that. But it's good to be alive. And speaking of being alive and people with questions, Stella Osborn, who is a listener of this podcast, is also going down the development road, and she's got some questions for us. I'm sick of talking, Al. You read them.
Okay. Hey, guys. I've been binge listening to your podcast. That's the way to do it. From the beginning and love it. I'm on episode 22, so I realize I have a lot of catching up to do. I believe for your townhome 9-unit project, you got a loan and put a down payment yourself, right? ? Have you looked for investors since then, and how did you go about finding them? My development project right now is considered small in Atlanta, but big to me. Construction costs estimated at $6 million mixed use. We are trying to raise about $2 million for our down payment.
Let me reread it really quick.
So
I believe for your townhome, you got a loan and put that into yourself.
You read it to yourself. I'll start the answer. So there's a couple down payments. Like if you have the land, you need a down payment for the land. Let's say 30% of the land. So let's say it's $1 million just to make it $100,000 to make it easy. Okay, now get $30,000. The idea, hopefully, is that you can do that yourself. If you're kind of wrapping this all together and maybe you don't have the land or maybe like let's take the land out of the consideration because the second scenario is where you need money for the bigger amount of loan or you need it for the land. So there's a couple ways to do it. The bank will only give you 75% loan to the lowest amount, which will be like actual costs. So you got to come up with 25% of that. So
I thought it was 35, 65.
No, 75. Okay. Yep. Private will give you 65%. 65 loan to value. So loan to value is higher than loan to cost. Right. So like you can almost cover all of your costs almost with a private, but they're going to charge you between 10 and 15%, which a bank will be between 3 and 5%, right? Something like that. So we did go to investors because we couldn't do the loan just for the bank. And because that would have been a lower interest rate. So where we started off with all of our other developer buddies, I think one or two we didn't talk to, but like that's where we went.
Yep.
And what happened there?
It just didn't work. I mean, nobody liked our margins.
We don't even like our margins anymore.
We don't even like our margins anymore. Yeah.
And the other thing is, I think that in our head we were like, I can't remember if we were saying you get a percentage of the profit or you just get like, let's say you give us $100,000 in a year, we give you $120,000, right? So I think we didn't get to that stage. It was just they didn't like the margins.
That's exactly what they didn't like the margins. Some other people, like one other guy wanted a pretty hefty fee for his, because he wanted to act as a general contractor too, which would have alleviated a lot of stress. I don't know if it would have helped the situation at all, because it just there was a lot of, it's a tight site, it's kind of in a crappy neighborhood, there's a lot of like logistical issues. So I'm not sure anybody would have. He would have fired all the other contractors. It was a weird situation.
Yeah, maybe he would have brought in his own different guys and he's trained them. I don't know.
Yep, exactly. So have you looked at investors? So for the next project, here's what I'll say, Stella, is we want to do a potentially mixed use project where it's, commercial lower level, rental up top. And I think for that one we'd absolutely have to. What I would want to do is I would want to bring investors in almost right away, and show and I would still go talk to one of our developer buddies, because he has this beautiful formula that he shows people, and he says, here's going to be your rate of return, Tim.
Yep.
I really liked how he put that. Did he ever send that to you?
I think so. I think we got
okay, good. So I think we already have that, but still would like to go talk to him again. But the way he showed like what their rate of return will be for investors, and then just be upfront about it from the beginning, and go for a bank loan. I think it would be. I would just like to know how a bank works versus the private money. I like the private money better because, for instance, yesterday I put in for a draw in the morning, and they had it funded by the end of the day. That is fast money. And we needed to be that fast because I have to pay the cabinet people to ensure that our delivery is going to happen on Monday or Tuesday. And if they don't have the final money, they're not going to give it to us.
Yep. And I think we did the loan before we knew all the math. We bought the land before we did all the final math to see if it would work out for like a bank loan. And then we would have made, so if you can get a bank loan, and then if you can get lenders, it's all about, honestly, it's not about the architecture. It's not so much about you. Like you have to be able to do it, but it's all about the numbers. Like it boils down to the numbers with those people. I think some of the people that we talked about that didn't loan it, we'll be able to show them, and I think they'll be happy for us. And they'll probably say, I know you could do it. You just couldn't do it with the money that would have made sense for me.
Exactly. That's exactly what they would say. And then your point about the architecture, the one good thing too about the private folks is that they treated our architecture plans as cash.
Nope, it didn't matter.
It didn't even matter.
Because it was 65% loan to value. So whatever the appraisal value was 65%. It's all numbers. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. And then just so everybody knows, so we had to extend our loan by a couple $100,000
Yay.
at the end, because one thing we thought we would be able to do, because we've been having a really great year, was we'd be able to fill the gap with cash, and we were able to fill quite a bit of it with cash that we made throughout the year. But we fell short at the end, so we had to extend, and that's why our margins kind of suck now. We'll still eat. Oh, fine. We'll get a new building. It'll get a bunch of experience. We launched another construction arm. That's part of the other things I want to talk about. So it was a positive in the end, because now we've fully launched F14 Productions, which is a contracting company, and I've got 2 clients, one signed, and that'll be a pure design build project, which is really, really cool, and we should be breaking ground for that in a couple months. Much smaller scale, much more tangible, way easier to handle. I guarantee it. And I also have we also have worked through like, okay, no to this sub ever again. Yes, these are the best subs. Let's combine these two and make sure we have the preferred subs. And then the last thing I think that is like, when I went into this sales meeting for F14 now with this client 2 weeks ago, super confident. I was absolutely confident in telling them, like, these are my preferred subs, and here's why I prefer them.
Oh, yeah.
Because they worked, and it was just, that this client was so convinced that we got done with the meeting, they had some sticker shock. Name a client who doesn't have sticker shock. I'll be surprised. And then they went outside for like 2 minutes, came back in, said, "Can we use the bathroom?" And then said, "Let's do it." Shook my hand. It was awesome. It was awesome. Made my, because now we're looking forward to this project. And one of the things that Nick mentioned, Nick Renard, our best friend. By the way, we have a reading from Nick to catch up on now.
Yep.
Is he says, I think a good piece of advice that he gives is, look, a lot of you, if you're reading the news, if you're watching CNBC Money or whatever, you know, they're talking about maybe recessions on the horizon. And so if you can transition to design build before it happens and land at least one or two projects. And at this point, if you're a decent contractor, hopefully you're charging 10, 12, 13, 14, 15% of that overall fee. That's a way bigger fee than an architect's fee, at least how we operate.
Yep.
So you can extend the longevity of your overall business structure to soften that blow, and maybe you don't even really feel it. I mean, wouldn't that be amazing if we honestly didn't feel it and then we came out of it like we wanted to at the end, Al, and we were like, okay, now it's time to franchise.
The only thing I want to add on to that, so I have a house that potentially will be design build here in Longmont. I don't know if the
he's going to be GCL.
GCL. I might keep the title Super L though.
Yeah, you mean you own 50% of the F14, so.
Yeah. So I don't think the HOA will allow us, but I want to do concrete walls. And the reason why is because then, you know, all the subs, everyone's stepping over each other. Everyone's paint getting on things. Everyone's drywall. So you have your insulated concrete form that has the exterior, the insulation, and the interior. And then you run conduit for all your electrical, and you have exposed HVAC. You get rid of framing, drywall, mud and tape, paint, insulation, and siding. That's 6
streamlined
plus the people who the plumbers that come and just cut all your cords just for fun.
It's been crazy.
So it goes from 7 to 1, and maybe you're putting some sort of lacquer on it to protect it at the end, whatever. The concrete.
Yeah, some kind of finish. Yeah. Sure, we don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sealant.
Exactly.
That's the word.
Yeah. You know, like, I love that.
That's
I reducing the amount of people.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing that Alex and I both have been frustrated with and kind of mind boggled by is, man, how can this, there's so many specialties, and I think one of the biggest problems with all these specialties trades is, I mean, you can talk about it all day long, but until you're living it for like almost a year straight, I don't think you really understand the intersection problem. So for instance, on stucco, right? Stucco versus our siding versus our painters. Who should have done the caulking on the bead between where they intersect, right? Now we're having to pay a little bit extra to the painter.
Who connects the water to the fire?
Oh, that was a big one. Jeez. Yeah. So with the city we operate in, you can actually you can use the fire line to tap your domestic off of, which is not typical anywhere else. The beautiful thing about that is it saves you on tap fees. So we're happy about it. The problem is it's such an anomaly. Nobody wants to take responsibility for it. And the way we pinned it down was, okay, what inspection does that fall under according to the city? Plumbing. Okay, plumber, you got to do it.
Yep. So this relates. I was just out at the Building Communities Conference in South Padre Island, and I went out to see my best buddy. We're basically best buds now, Elon Musk. So he's making the Starship out there. So I went and saw his Starship, and then literally the day I left, he was out there, and they did a press thing, right?
Oh, you just missed him.
Just missed it. But listen to this. Tim Dodd, everyday astronaut, asked him, did an interview, and said, how did you build a Starship in it was like 6 or 8 months? Because you probably don't know, but like when NASA or someone else builds anything, it takes 8 years. Honestly, it's over budget, and it takes way too long, like ungodly amount of time, right? So like I won't even go into it, but the one thing that they're supposed to be building, the SLS, has taken just as long and cost more than Elon's every rocket that he's made built up to this combined. So he just said, like, how did you do this? Because this is not how space things are bought.
Yeah.
And his answer was, he's like, I've learned a lot about how to be efficient and quick. And then I was pondering that, and then they went on to some other topic. Think about what he does with Tesla. Think about how a car works. Like, it goes down the line, And it means you get the car first, you put in the wiring. I get it in, I put the door handles out. It's one thing at a time. So his spaceship, there's the cryogenic tanks. That's made somewhere else. You place that there. There's the outside. That's all they're doing. There's the engines. That's somewhere else. And then they just plug and play. There's electric batteries for the fins. That's someone else. They put it in. The fins were made somewhere else. Just put in. The steel was made somewhere else. Just shipped. So like he didn't say this, but this is how I'm thinking in my mind was everything was built separately and you just come and you just place it in. And that's the lesson I think he learned from car manufacturing. And that we're not, I'm not saying we can do it. I don't know how, but like, that's how cars go fast. It's one person at one station at a time, or two, one on each side.
Yeah, I think I was telling you this. We were talking maybe a week or two ago. It doesn't matter. But I know we had the conversation of like, man, I just feel like, so if we're trying to do true ownership, like with Jocko says and responsibility and that sort of stuff, I really want to get good at this. Nothing went really bad on the site. Nothing went really bad. I think.
Yes, correct.
We all knew, you and I knew, but we kind of fibbed to ourselves like, I don't think we have enough. We don't have enough. We're not going to have enough money to finish this. Mm-hmm. And we had to ask for a loan extension. We thought we'd maybe have enough cash. I thought some tricks would happen at the end. I mean, business is really good.
Yep.
But it's, for me, that it's been okay, here's how to manage people. Here's when I should be bringing people in. There's a better way to do things, and I want to get really good at building now. Mm-hmm. So just so that it is as seamless as possible. Whether that's A versus B, and I would say A is having only a very small pool of select contractors. They know how we operate. We know how they operate. We know when they want to be in, when they don't want to be in on the job site and doing their thing. We know it's probably better, honestly, if they supply their materials. I think that's one thing. That's one big lesson that I learned is like, yeah, we did save some money by supplying our own materials. I wouldn't say it was a giant chunk of change. Probably small, and it helped our crappy margins. But as far as the speed of everything goes, and just me having less stress,
right?
I think, okay, so for this next build that we're going to do is they're supplying all of their materials.
So framing does framing, drama.
We're not supplying any materials whatsoever. Every single material is supplied either by the subcontractor or the supplier, same thing. And that's the A. The B would be what you're saying, module. You're bringing in modules. You're trying to modulate the thing as much as possible.
And you just did, would you say it was non-typical what you did?
No, I think it's
50-50?
Yeah, 50-50, because I think we've worked with enough contractors as architects to know that that our clients want to supply certain materials themselves, right? They have a very specific set of...
Here's my question. The 5 contractors we know, did someone else say, yeah, I buy the materials?
Oh, they all offered up front in their bids. Mm-hmm. That they would buy the materials. Is that what you're asking?
No. Like Brian, like the contractors, not the subs. The contractors that we know that actually build.
The subs.
What? I know, but those other contractors, because you talked to Brian,
yeah,
right? Tinker Homes, he's awesome.
Yeah.
But there's other people that you know. Do any of them say, "Oh no, Lance, I buy everything"? Okay.
Yep. The subs do it.
Yep.
The subs do it. It was different for us because I thought I just thought we could. I thought we would have enough cash to supplement. That was the idea. Was like, okay, if we can get enough. Here was the original idea. We only have so much money to pay for the labor, right?
Yeah.
If I can then supplement the rest of the project with materials that we buy out of our pocket, great. Then that's how we can make these two match. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So anyway, that's that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the A. That's the A to the B. One more. She's got one more question. Yeah.
So I'm gonna read it to you.
Okay.
You listening?
I'm listening. I promise.
My other question is regarding your general contractor's license requirement in the state of Georgia. What I'm seeing for any level of licensures, you must have interned with a contractor for 2 years prior to taking the exam. Does Colorado have similar? Is there any sort of credit for being licensed architect first? Any insight is much appreciated.
That is an awesome
Stella.
question. This is why I preach, Al does too, get out and get some construction experience, and then take photos of your construction experience, and make sure you keep a good repertoire with that, or good rapport with that contractor that you worked for. So hopefully they'll vouch for you in this kind of way if when you need it. I don't think there's so many positives to doing that and working construction. Not only if you're going to be your own contractor, but you learn all these certain things, right? So the way it works in Colorado was, first you got to take the ICC test. So it sounds like, Stella, you will be doing, I don't know how many stories your building is, but like a Class B contractor's license typically covers, you're basically like the lower level commercial builder. Type A, you could do whatever you want. You could do a skyscraper. You could do a giant, whatever, it doesn't matter. Type B, 3 stories or less, any commercial building. So like, I don't know if you know this, Al, but we could build a school if we wanted to.
Let's do it.
We could build public works like that as long as it's under 2 stories. We could build a new city hall if we really wanted to.
Yeah. We don't want to.
I don't want to deal with that kind of paperwork. That sounds crazy to me. Mm-hmm. Plus the deadlines. So private is better. So the way it worked, so I had to take the ICC test. I talked about it on one of the episodes a long time ago. And you should do the Jocko way. Wake up at 4:30, wake up at 5:30, make that your morning, read through that IBC. Just get it down to a T, put tabs in it. You'll go into the test, you'll kill it. So that was step 1. The harder part though was, I didn't think that was the hard part. The harder part was convincing the building official to give me a license based on experience. So it is experience based in the city we operate in. So what I had to do was, I had to use projects. I had to use a hybrid of projects. Some of the projects were from way back when I was like 18, no joke, and building commercial buildings. One was a daycare, another one was an assisted living center. Both you would have to have a Class B up in North Dakota. Okay, there was a couple in Minnesota, and then so that was all me just being a worker, like a carpenter.
And you said like, hey, this is my carpenter experience.
Yep. And I was under a general contractor. Listed the general contractors, their name, was very upfront about it. Even called them and said, hey, you might be getting a call. They never did. And then the other hybrid part was, hey, look at all this construction administration experience I've done with all these commercial buildings that we've designed with the other general contractors, and then put them down as references too.
Did you use any construction admin? So it was architecture projects that were built that you did admin on.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Field inspections and all of that. And then I did say, I also had printed off a resume, and I have my building construction technology degree, which is basically to be a little contractor. And I did that first for a bachelor's. And then I did kind of tout like, hey, come on, I'm also a licensed architect. I'm going to build this.
Yep.
And it was enough to convince them. The beautiful, all you have to do is do it once. If you can convince them once, the beautiful thing about it is, I just went to Boulder County, which is outside of our city, and applied for a Class B there for this new project we're going to build. And they go, oh yeah, you could have just brought your license from Longmont. You get reciprocity.
Yep.
You could have just brought it in. You didn't have to show us your ICC test.
Yep. I think when I do it, I'll have to pass the test, study for the test. But I got Army contractor experience.
Oh, plus Mark II.
Well, plus Mark II, plus CA, but plus the 3 tiny houses.
Yeah, they didn't care about those.
They didn't care about those?
No, they told me that they don't count. They told me they didn't count. They said they wanted to see commercial and multifamily.
Yep.
So
and I'll still do
even
it
because
even though they say it won't count, it will be another one where on the fence it helps push you over the fence.
Yeah. Al should get a license. I mean, or at least pass it. At least just pass the test, because then I wonder if we could put ourselves down as both. I don't know how it would work with. We'd have to figure out legally with F14 how it works. I mean, you're not going to start at 15, are you?
No. Contractors all it would be the same company, right?
Yeah, it'd be the same company. Yeah, but maybe you're just separately licensed. I don't know. But either way, just getting you qualified in that way, I think, is a milestone for sure. So Stella, that's what you got to do. I think you do try for construction administration, working with other general contractors, and you present it that way. And then if you have any construction experience, it's maybe the internship could be construed as construction administration. I mean, to me, there's let's say you were interning with a contractor. Well, are you gonna if the general's being a true general? I doubt they're pounding nails. You know, that was like some of the comments I got when I was out there, and literally just like yesterday, installing railings. Like, man, I've never seen an owner or even a superintendent actually get dirty. Well, you know, we're kind of DIY guys, so that's the insight I would give you for that one.
Nice.
Yeah. Man, I can't wait to listen to this guy. I haven't heard him in a while.
Oh, Nick's. Let's listen to Nick.
Hello, best friends. I hope you've all had a great few weeks, and I hope you can forgive my absence. A reading. Don't worry about motivation. Motivation is fickle. It comes and goes. It is unreliable, and when you're counting on motivation to get your goals accomplished, you will likely fall short. So, don't expect to be motivated every day, to get out there and make things happen. You won't be. Don't count on motivation. Count on discipline. You know what you have to do, so make yourself do it. You do that with discipline. Everyone wants some magic pill, some life hack that eliminates the need to do the work. But that does not exist. No. You have to do the work. You've got to hold the line. You've got to make it happen. So, dig in. Find the discipline. Be the discipline. Accomplish. That's it. Discipline Equals Freedom. Field Manual by Jocko Willink. Next week, CO on dig build number 2. Then on to the next adventure. Alexa, play my favorite song. That is, if you remember my favorite song. Toodles!
I thought he said his rule of if he's going to read Jocko, he can't do toodles.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
He's breaking his own rule.
He is breaking his own rule.
Two things. I thought he was going to say, Alexa, play On to the Next One by Jay-Z.
That's what he should have said.
That's what he really needs to say. And then two, I think it's true. Like, okay, motivate. Are you pumping yourself up when you're waking up at 4:30 to do this, or are you just being disciplined?
Disciplined.
Exactly.
I'm not going back to bed. I literally sit up in bed and go, I hope it's not 4:30. It's 4:30. Time to get up.
Yeah.
And you just do it. And then you just do it.
Yeah.
Like you said. Congratulations to Nick on his CO.
Exactly.
He messaged us yesterday. I think it was yesterday, David.
Bragging.
I'm losing track of time. Bragging that he
rubbing it in our face.
Yep. That he. So Nick has been.
It was last Friday. No.
I'd have to
Monday or
look.
Tuesday.
It was Monday or Tuesday. It was this week. But he has got the certificate of occupancy for his latest design build project. So congratulations to Nicholas James Renard for doing that. It is not easy. It was Tuesday. CO granted at 4:45 yesterday. Moving started at noon today. Yeah, I'm jealous. I am seriously jealous. I can't wait until we start doing that on our end. It's going to be good. It's going to be a big stress relief. It's just going to be amazing. Seriously. Like, what an accomplishment. It's like you said, we're giving birth right now to a freaking building. 2 of them. And,
Yep. We had
it's hard.
Explain that analogy to our guys, and maybe we'll do that in the next segment, how it's just like a birth. But if you want to be disciplined and grow your skill in Revit, go to revitrocketship.com. It is our videos and tutorials of how we teach other professionals, students, and our own firm how to be proficient in Revit. Money back guaranteed. Be disciplined. No more excuses. Get it done. I just saw an email. Actually, it was from TestFit.io, their Twitter account. This guy tried to get their bosses to buy into it. They didn't even do a tutorial. And they tried TestFit.io, and they're like, I could do this faster in CAD, which is not true because it's an AI algorithm that helps you lay out buildings, so it's factually incorrect. And he said me and a couple other guys liked it, but the boss didn't want it. So if you are saying you could think you could do this faster in AutoCAD, it's because you don't have the correct training in Revit. And if you are, hey, I'll just stick to AutoCAD, you are going to be left behind. Someone asked me this question when I was speaking at the Building Communities Conference. What are some of the hard things for the younger generations? And I went, of course there'll always be, you don't have enough knowledge, you gotta learn stuff like that. But it's, are you gonna grab these new tools and incorporate them into your architecture firm or your system? Because if you don't, someone else will. And if someone else, a developer or a contractor, is using these new tools, guess what? That is more responsibility. What are they going to get for that? More reward. So be disciplined. Go to RevitRocketship.com. Learn yourself some Revit.
And if you enjoyed this episode or any other episodes, please remember, sharing is caring. Share this podcast, this episode, whatever, one of the two, with a friend, a colleague, a student, someone who you think could benefit from listening to this. And don't forget, if you haven't already, please leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. It helps us expand our reach. And if you do that, and if you haven't done it yet, you can email Alex at akg@f9productions.com, and he will send you a free PDF copy of his book, The Creativity Code. That's all I got, Al.
See you guys later.